All righty. We are indeed going hot, going live. I don't know if Live Leap's going to automatically send out our feed to everything because I've had weird issues with Facebook lately, Steve. Weird issues. We are indeed live, though. We've got some people watching already, but I've had some weird issues, so I don't think it's going to automatically share. So I'm going to have to share it myself. And, of course, you know, if and when I do, then it probably will share automatically afterwards, and then we'll double it up. But, well, wait, did you share it?
I shared it to my page, and to Video Marketing Madness.
Oh, good. Well, I saw that it was shared. That's why I was like, uh-oh, maybe it is going to go out. But all right, I'm going to do a couple of quick little shares here, folks. Bear with us. We're going to talk about webcams today, and it's going to be tons of fun. Tons of fun. So let's just share this out to a few localities. And no, I don't want to add a button to it. Thank you very much. I'd rather Facebook that you just got everything else to work rather than constantly asking me that question.
Yeah.
Facebook's been a bit of a nightmare for me lately, and now it just did something else here. Yeah, the biggest problem I've had with Facebook is it keeps, and I don't know if this is happening to everybody, but it keeps logging me out of Facebook, and then when I go to log in, it says, there's a suspicious login, and it's, you know, my location and my machine that I've used for years. And for some reason, that's suddenly a suspicious login. So
every time, huh?
Yeah, almost every time. It's very odd. Very odd indeed. And so we're going to try and share here. We seem to be having some weird issues with sharing as well. There we go. Now it's working. No, I still don't want to add a button. Thank you again, Facebook. Share it to a couple more spots, and then we'll get ourselves on the road and get started here. I wish it would automatically do this so I didn't have to, waste time to, oh my goodness, it did it again. What is this thing doing? Facebook is a nightmare. Facebook, you are a nightmare. We still love you, though.
Could it be operator error?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not when it pops up an actual error. All right, let's see. Share it to a couple more places, and hopefully this won't take 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
They once again, by the way, Facebook, it just did it again. What in the world is this thing doing? Facebook, you are a mess. They took away the group sharing thing that I was so excited about a couple weeks ago. Again, they've done that a couple of times, where they you used to be able to, for a while, you could go in, you could hit group, and just choose all the groups you wanted, press a button, and it would share it to all the groups. And then it took that away, then it brought it back, and now it's gone again. So
that's some wild, wacky stuff.
Some wacky, wild stuff, baby. Wacky stuff. So, and let's see, I'm getting tired of, I don't even know if this is sharing things properly here anymore. It's all kind of kooky. So I think we'll leave it like that. Maybe we'll share it the rest of the way afterwards. So today, Steve, we're going to be talking about some webcam madness because, I have to give credit where credit's due. Our good buddy, Owen, he actually did a live video the other day where he was talking about webcams, so I thought it would be a good topic to discuss because I've messed around with a lot of webcam stuff recently, and I want to share some of the successes and failures that we've had with that and, have some fun with it. So If we're ready, are we ready? We can get ready for that funky music.
My audio okay?
Your audio is lovely, as always.
You going to wear some earbuds or something so there's no echo?
Steve,
Steve.
You're such a pain in my bottom.
Steve. Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. All right, hold on. Let's see. We got to... AirPods. There we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right, that totally.
I can still hear echo.
It's because I got to actually switch it.
Oh.
There we go. Now we got it.
1, 2, 1, 2. There we go.
All right. Somebody just sent me a text message. Oh, with a map. Is this a treasure map? I literally just got a text message with a map in it.
Ooh.
Don't know what that is. It's from...
Me either.
What in the world? Okay. I don't know what that's for, but that was very strange. It's the guy that's redoing my house that I bought down about an hour away from here. He just sent me a text message with a map. I don't know why.
It looks like that house looks like it needs some work.
It needs a lot of work. Actually, you should see it now. It looks a lot better already. It's been painted up and looking pretty. All right. With that, we've got the headphones in. Are we ready to get this show on the road before everybody runs away crying?
They already have.
Oh, good. Even better. All right. In that case, here we go. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to discuss webcams in a series we call Webcam Mania.
Mania.
And with that, today's episode is also made possible by our good friends at Mivo. And Steve, have you ever wanted to have a really nice podcasting mic on your desk?
Yes.
Well, believe it or not, Mivo makes an amazing desktop microphone that you can use for podcasting and voiceovers and all the video voiceovers that you need. It's called the UM700, and it gives you a variety of different pickup patterns. So you can go from an omnidirectional to a cardioid to even a dual microphone and stereo microphone system at the flip of a little switch.
Like a Yeti.
Shh, don't say that word. Don't say that word.
Okay.
But yes,
right.
It is very similar. In fact, if you're watching on video, if I duck my head, you can see it behind me in all of its nice black goodness. And it is a lovely microphone. It does a great job. I've been using it with my my Pi 400 that I talked about earlier, and using it to do screen capture videos on the Raspberry Pi 400. Very good little microphone, and you can get it right now along with a bunch of goodies by heading on over to pocketvideopro.com/UM700. And with that, Steve, are we ready to hit that funky music?
Hit it, Ray.
All right. Well,
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray, the video guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper, and the homepage, govmm.com. You can listen. You can subscribe to the podcatchers, our favorite, Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review and all that good stuff. Oh, there it is again. It shuts off. You got to change that power setting on there.
I know. It shuts off in like about 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere around there.
If you're listening to the audio, you have no clue what we're talking about. But Ray's got a new toy, and you
got a new toy in the background.
And
after a couple minutes, the screen turns off. So
how's the wild world of escape rooms going?
Ooh, it's going good. We actually have somebody in right now, so I don't know if we'll hear them or not. But they are in the room. Actually, starting in about 3 minutes, they'll be in there. So if you hear lightning and thunder and screaming, you'll know why.
Camp Rutledge?
Camp Rutledge, I believe. That's what they're in.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Tough to say because I'm hidden in here.
And then you are buying investment properties as well.
Well, of course, yes. We're actually working on one right now, and, it's going good. Going well so far.
Yeah, life is good if you're Ray, the video guy.
I don't know about that, but it's not too bad. But, Steve, we got to talk about something serious.
Yes.
Have you ever suffered from mania?
Yes. They've got me on meds for it.
I don't think Hulkamania counts.
Oh, okay. Manic Depressive?
Maybe.
That was
Mania.
a Jimi Hendrix song.
Well, because today, of course, we're going to be talking about Webcam Mania. We need an echo sound. Echo Mania. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about the different kinds of webcams that you can use for your videos and live streaming. As you may know, I shoot from this desk right here all the time. Live videos, recorded videos, trainings, you name it, I do it right from this very desk. And I've had an opportunity to use a lot of different types of cameras in order to make this possible. And of course, there are many different cameras that you can use, including ones that are built in and ones that cost a lot of money and ones that only cost a little bit of money. And so we're going to talk about a few of those and what you would need to do a really nice video to get started with. And the first thing we want to talk about is, of course, you got your built-in cameras. Those things come right with your computer, and all you have to do is turn on your computer and your little webcam will pop on. Steve, what webcam are you using right now?
The Logitech, whatever number that is.
Nice.
I can never remember.
So it's not the built-in one. Not the built-in.
No, it's a Logitech. It was what you used to use.
The C920.
C920.
And we'll talk about that one in a minute. So yes, you can use your built-in webcam. Now, why would you want to use that? Well, the big reason is because it's there and it's cheap and you're ready to go. Does it matter if you use that particular camera, that built-in webcam? Well, the reality is it's certainly better than doing nothing at all. However, most built-in webcams are not very good. I am sitting in front of an iMac Pro, and the webcam on that is, it's not great. The old iMac, I think it's the same webcam that was in the past iMacs as well. Just not great webcams. They're okay. They're not bad. They're okay. Many others, some can be good, some can be better, some can be terrible. It really just depends on which brand you buy, but test it out. And remember that if you're going to shoot any videos, you got to have some sort of camera. So if you got one that's built in, it's certainly better than not doing a video at all. And it's a good first step. Get in there, use that, and start recording, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Because again, something is better than nothing. And in some cases, the built-in webcams are barely better than nothing, but still better than doing nothing at all. But that's a great first step way to get started doing live videos and video recordings, is to just use the webcam that's built into your laptop or your desktop. But of course, if you want to take it a little more seriously, there are different levels we can go to really take it up a notch. And the first thing is, of course, to get a webcam from your local store. You can get these at pretty much anywhere, like a Best Buy, even Walmart sells some. And if you've ever been to, Steve, have you ever been to a place called Micro Center?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, Micro Center. It's a store. We actually have one here kind of locally, about 40 minutes from here. And I stopped by. That's where I got my Raspberry Pi. They actually had them on the shelf, which is amazing because you're not going to find that on the shelf in most places. But Micro Center is, imagine Best Buy with a lot less organization and a lot more geeky products. And that's kind of what a Micro Center is. You could buy everything from, little transistors and capacitors to rebuild an old computer to, PCBs for different things, your Raspberry Pis, all the way up to full-blown gaming systems and computers and things like that.
Sounds
TVs.
like what Radio Shack was back in the day.
I actually referred to it as a cross between an old Radio Shack and a Best Buy.
Okay.
And if you could imagine that on a much bigger level, because obviously Radio Shacks were usually pretty tiny places, but this place is big, big, big. Has all this, you can hear the lightning and thunder. It just started.
Yay.
So anyway, Micro Center, great place to pick up things like that as well. But you can get a nice webcam for anywhere from $50 to $100. The Logitech C920 is my personal favorite and has been for a long time. And that one runs nowadays probably about $70 to $80. It's an HD camera. It looks really good. And the reason that I like it is the actual, it's not too wide of a camera, but it's not too narrow a focused camera either. It fits in there right nice. In fact, the newer version of it, the C922, I believe that one, the thing I didn't like about that one, it was too wide. It actually, was a much more wide angle lens, and I didn't like that as much. At least I believe that was the problem. Maybe it was the opposite and it was too narrow, but I believe it was a wide angle lens, and I didn't like that. But not a bad camera either. Another one that's, hovering around that $90 range that you can pick up. But the Logitech C920, it is the one that almost everybody that I know that does any kind of live video either uses it or has used it in the past, because it is that good. I've had mine for a couple of years, and I still have two of them. I've got one right in front of me here. I've got one up here that we actually still use. That gets me my second angle. And they plug in USB. They look good. Again, they're high definition. You can control them with software. So if you get, Webcam settings is the tool that I use, and it allows you to change everything on there from the zoom to the colors and everything else. And it controls it really, really well. So it's just a nice little camera. You can get the Logitech software. I didn't like that nearly as much. But the third-party softwares were pretty good for that, at least on Mac. On PC, not sure. Maybe, could be better. Could be the only option for all we know. I'm not sure.
I had it. I didn't like it. When I bought a new computer, whenever it was a year ago, I didn't install it. What I do use is, for instance, with Mivo Call that you use, it just automatically finds it. With some of the streaming software to interface with YouTube, it automatically finds it, and Camtasia automatically finds it. So I just found I didn't need it.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful camera, and again, for only about $100, you're going to get a much better picture than the built-in cameras, and it's going to be HD, which like for instance, my built-in one here is 720, which is technically HD, but it's not a it's not a high quality HD. With the Logitech, you're going to get a full 1080p, and it's not 4K, but then again, if you're streaming at 4K, you're probably going to have other issues you have to worry about anyway. But with 1080p, it works really good. It's a very nice camera. So the next step up from there, well, there's a few different ways you can go with this. You could actually use your camcorder. So if you've got a fairly new camcorder, you can use that as your webcam, and there are ways to set that up and to use that. And typically those are going to be 1080p cameras these days. You can get, a decent camcorder at a place like Best Buy or Micro Center for probably a couple $100. It just depends on how good you want to go. They can be over $1,000 if you really go high, but you can get one for a couple $100. I actually used to use a Canon camera that I had, which was a little camcorder. It was an HD, and it worked pretty good. That poor camera got so beat up over the years, though, that now it just kind of sits in a bag. I probably should pull it out and play with it at some point in time, but it was a little bit difficult to use because it only worked through FireWire, which, that's kind of old school nowadays. Now you need adapters and everything else to even be able to use it with FireWire, and so we kind of lost that ability. But when we did have that, it actually did work well for using as a webcam. The next step up, Steve, this is the one that we tried to use, and I'll tell you, the picture was beautiful. We used my smartphone. So there's actually software out there that will allow you to take your iPhone, and I'm assuming your Android phone, and use it as a webcam. And I got to tell you, it did a beautiful, beautiful job. It made a beautiful picture. It looked nice, and you could really see a big difference between the C920 quality and the iPhone's quality on the camera. And you might say, well, wait a minute, that's a 1080p camera, and you're probably using 1080p in there, but I'll tell you, the lenses, the sensors, whatever it happened to be, it looked a whole lot better. When we use the C920, although it's HD and it has a pretty good picture, one of the issues that we have with that is you turn on the lights and you get a lot of harsh light areas, you get a lot of deep shadows, and it's just very contrasty. The minute that we switched to using the iPhone as the webcam, it actually looked really nice. The color was better. The dark areas weren't as shadowy, and there wasn't any real bright spots. It was a very nice, even image, and it looked really, really good. I liked that a lot. We did have to use a third-party software, and the one that I used is called Camo, C-A-M-O, and you actually put a piece of software on your phone itself and a piece of software on your computer, and that's how they talk to each other. And the big thing that it does there is it removes all the junk off of your smartphone screen. So, because if you're going to use your smartphone as a camera, you don't want people to be seeing the time and the date and whatever else is on the camera all the little things that will show up. So this gives you the clean camera image only. The problem that we had was as soon as I installed that software on my computer and we tried to connect with it and everything, it looked great, but every time we went live, we would get cut off. It would all of a sudden freeze up everything and stop the live feed. And so I think there was something with that software. I can't guarantee that it was the Camo software that was causing the problem, but it seemed to happen as soon as we started using that. And now that I've stopped using that, all of a sudden it looks better. But again, that's a great option if you can get the software to work properly and it works for you. It's going to give you a great picture. It's not going to cost you anything because you've probably already got a phone. So you don't have to go out and buy a phone just for that. You've probably already got one. You just stick it onto a tripod or prop it up somehow and you can get a really great picture very quickly and very easily. And again, it was a very nice picture. Another option that we had, and I don't have it in front of me because I've put it away, is the Mivo camera. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mivo camera is it's a live streaming camera that you can use anywhere. It usually connects to your phone, and you can use your phone to control it, and you can do a live stream from pretty much anywhere, and you can cut back and forth and do all sorts of really cool things with it. Well, it now has a webcam mode where you can put it as your webcam, control it from your computer, and it actually does a pretty good job. My issue with that particular one was it's a fixed focus lens, essentially, and so therefore, everything is in focus. So right now, if you're watching this on video, you can kind of see that the stuff behind me is slightly out of focus with that bokeh effect, and you're not going to get that with the Mivo. It is meant to be everything is in focus, behind you, in front of you, which is good and bad. In some cases, that can be a good thing. In some cases, that can be a bad thing. You know, like right now, we're using a camera that has a very, the depth of field is very strong. So if I put my hand up to the camera, it's going to be blurred, and I'll be hopefully in focus. But if I move too close or move too far back, I'm going to go out of focus. And the stuff behind me is slightly out of focus as well. With the Mivo, the picture is really nice, but you're always going to have everything in focus, and the normal shot is very wide, and you can zoom in on that and get a tighter picture. But it's good, but not fantastic. And it's great. It's a great camera for everything else. But as a webcam, it's better than most, but still has some of those issues. Now, and by the way, the Mivo, I'm not even sure what that goes for these days. Probably $199, somewhere around there.
You still got yours?
Oh yes, yep. It's just sitting. I think it's in the drawer in the other room there. But it does a great job. It's a great little camera. If you're going to be on the road and do things live with other people, really good camera to have. As a webcam, it's okay. The picture's good, but like I said, I wanted something that had a little bit more depth of field than that's going to have for you. But again, you can get that for, I believe, about $199 these days. They may have a second version that's a little bit more expensive, but it is a very good camera, and it does work extremely well. Now, the next level of this is to use a DSLR. Now, DSLR is what looks like an old professional style camera with the interchangeable lenses and all of that stuff. And I shouldn't really say that. There are some DSLRs that are less expensive that don't have changeable lenses. I think there's some really nice Sonys that people like that are pretty compact DSLRs, and they've got a fixed lens attached to them. But there's a lot of different options on that. What I'm using right now is a Canon camera. And the one that I'm using is, I just pulled out an old T3i, which is, I believe it's the 650D is what it's called, I think. So it's not a super expensive camera, but it's not a cheap camera either. This one probably goes for, well, right nowadays, an equivalent one would probably go for about $800 if you went to the store. So it's not a super high end like the 5D, which will cost you, $2,000 or whatever. And I apologize to all you photographers out there if I'm screwing up my numbers, because I'm not a photographer. But the DSLR is good. There are some good things to it, and there are some down things to it. They are a little more finicky. And when we were going to get started here, I've been doing a few live shots and things, and then I had to plug things and unplug things again to get it to come back up. And also, there is the possibility with these that they'll overheat. So you could be doing a long video, and all of a sudden the camera overheats. This one doesn't seem to do that, doesn't seem to get hot. I haven't had it shut off when I'm doing fairly long videos yet. So I've been lucky. Hopefully that won't happen while we're on here. And of course, even if
Yeah.
it does,
Yeah.
you'll just see a blank screen anyway, and it won't matter because this is an audio podcast. So nobody will care. Be better off probably. But the great thing about using a DSLR, you can change your lenses, you can get the bokeh effect, you can change your focal lengths, you can do all sorts of fun things with that, and you're going to get probably the best picture you're going to get out of anything. Now, I will say this, Steve. As much as I like using this as my camera, and I like the bokeh effect and everything, I do have to say I think I like the look of the iPhone a little bit better than I do the DSLR. I think it actually did a slightly better job of, evening out the different tones and whatnot. This one, if I get too close, you can well, it's not doing it now, but sometimes when I get too close, you'll start to see the shining on the forehead and whatnot, which you didn't really see on the iPhone. It seemed to handle that a little bit better, which is kind of odd. You wouldn't think that would be the case, but this certainly does look a lot better than traditional web cameras, and you get a lot more control over it. And the great thing is, if you've got a DSLR, it doesn't take anything to really put it together. You grab a piece of software. In this case, I've got the Canon EOS utility, and you set your camera into video mode, and you click a few buttons, and the next thing you know, you've got a really nice webcam working for you with a nice lens. And of course, you can change the lenses that are on here. So if you don't like I'm just using the stock lens that came with this, but I've got other lenses I could put on here that would make a difference. I've got one lens, but it's way too wide. It's a really, really nice looking lens, but it's too wide. And then I've got telephoto lenses, which I could put that on here and play around with those and see what kind of image we get out of that. But right now, just using the stock lens. I even put it on autofocus, even though it doesn't seem to do anything in this mode anyway, because I think on this particular model, I don't think autofocus works in video mode. It only works in traditional camera mode. So really no need to put it on there, which is ironic because while it's turned on, the autofocus is turned on, I actually can't adjust the focus with my hand, but it's not going to autofocus either. So
I see.
Should probably turn it off and then just manually do it. But it's a great way to really get a nice shot. I've enjoyed it. I've only been using it as my camera for the last couple of days, but it really does give a much nicer effect. It looks really good, I think. Even though it is showing me, it still looks pretty good. I look good.
For the way you look.
For the way I look good. But yeah, and the great thing is, you can make all sorts of adjustments with this. So I can sit here and I can adjust my lights and then adjust the camera to that. So if I want to make myself brighter but make the background darker, I can go in and brighten my light here to hit me and then turn the camera, stop that down a little bit and really get whatever look I want. And that's what makes this such a great option, is you really can control everything you want and make it look exactly as you want it to look. You can have more depth of field, less depth of field, change colors, just a lot of different options that you can have in this. You can change the frame rate that it shoots in and the aspect ratio and all of that. I will say with the T3i that we have here, the Canon EOS utility doesn't give me all the control that I want on this one, because this is an older camera. I've had this one for years. That's why I'm using it as the webcam, because it's just kind of sitting in a bag other than that. So the EOS tool doesn't give you tons of control over that. In fact, the software, when it brings it in, is a little confused because I've got the camera set at 1080p, but when I bring it in here, it says that it's 720p. So a newer EOS camera, Canon camera, will probably be controlled a lot better than this one will be, but it does a pretty good job, and I really enjoy using it. So there are your options. Again, use your built-in webcam if you need to. You can use your smartphone. You can go and get a webcam from any store that sells computer equipment, and it's going to do a pretty good job for you. You can use a camcorder, and of course, you could move all the way up and use one of your DSLRs and really get an interesting picture out of that when you're doing your live videos, your trainings, and everything in between. So, Steve, what do you think? What are you going to? Are you going to go get a DSLR now because of all this? Have you got the Mania?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I've got a Logitech. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Although you can see a definite quality difference between me and you, because I've got the shadows and the hot spots in the shadows
and
and everything.
it doesn't have the depth of field and all of that kind of fun stuff. But it's a good,
stuff like that.
it is a good camera. I've been using it for years.
Oh yeah,
I like the camera.
I mean,
it's like
good.
I said, I'm going to take that camera and I'm going to be putting it on my Raspberry Pi behind me here so that I can do some webcam stuff there, and that should still do a pretty good job for that. I haven't tested it yet, but should do well as we test that out. Now, before we get out of here today, I do want to talk a little bit about that because I did just do a live video, and I'm going to be doing a video series on YouTube all about the Raspberry Pi 400. If you don't know what that is, it's Raspberry Pi, for those of you who don't know, is a microcomputer that uses a little tiny ARM-based computer, little ARM-based CPU, and usually they're used for very specific purpose things. You embed them into some sort of device that you're building, or you embed them into something you're trying to automate. A lot of people will use them to create retro video game systems and then sell them on eBay and things like that. It's just a very small but powerful computer system that can do a lot of things. Well, up until now, it's always been a hobbyist computer because literally when you bought one, you just got a board. You just got a little board and you'd buy a casing and you'd build the whole casing and everything else. Well, now what they've done is they've actually created a new version that is a full personal computer. It says right on the box, personal computer. The idea being that this could be the computer that you would use for your normal computing at home or even in a small office. And what's great about this thing is it's about the size of one of the smaller Apple keyboards, the ones without the number pad. So it's about that size, and inside of that keyboard is the entire computer. So the CPU, the memory, everything is inside the keyboard, kind of like a Commodore 64 or an old Atari 400 or what have you. Right. And what's cool about that is it's got that great retro feel to that. You just plug your stuff in and you go. You can plug it into a TV monitor, and you have a computer for $100. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this thing to the test to see if it really is a personal computer. Can you use it for your everyday computer? Now, I'm not going to, well, I was going to say I'm not going to do my live videos like this on there, but we could do live videos with that, I'm sure. If we wouldn't have the TV studio software because it just doesn't exist. But as far as doing, basic graphics, surfing the web, doing Gmail, doing stuff for the escape room, putting together different programs, writing things, it's got everything that it needs in there. It uses the Chromium browser, which is basically Chrome. It's like an open source version of Chrome. And what was amazing to me with that is I was using Convertri on there and building websites the other day, and Convertri requires Chrome. So like on my iMac, I can only use Convertri if I'm using Chrome. I can't do it on Safari or Firefox. Has to be Chrome, but it worked perfectly fine on Chromium on the Raspberry Pi, so I was able to build sites on there, and it worked really well. I've done some screen captures on there. I've edited some videos, and we'll talk more about that as the series progresses, but so far, it seems like out of the box, it could be the type of computer that anybody could jump right into and start using as their daily computer for all their normal tasks. And it's,
or as another computer for other things in
Yep,
your office.
Absolutely. And because
I've got an old Windows 7 sitting right over there that I use for Lead Kahuna for
Sure.
scraping and sending.
Yep. And you won't be using Lead Kahuna on this one because there is no version of it, as far as I know, for Raspberry Pi. But you can do it. But all the other stuff that those guys make, I was using it for rep videos. I was using it for Bright Social, and I was using it for Rep Kahuna, and it worked perfectly fine for those. Anything that's web based, works really well.
Yeah.
So it does a very nice job. I'm doing my emailing on there, and it comes with LibreOffice, so you get all of those Office softwares in there. You can always use Google Docs, Sheets and Pages and all that kind of stuff, or Docs and Sheets and
Sheets.
What's
there
the presenter?
A PowerPoint, slides.
Yeah, whatever, slides. I think it's just called Slides. But you've also got LibreOffice built into the system that has all of those tools in there as well. So we will see how that goes. I've started to record some stuff, and we'll put together a whole series and see if I can actually use this thing as a daily computer for most things. I will cheat a little bit because obviously, we're cheating right now. I'm using my iMac to do this live video. And of course, if I've got stuff already in Final Cut that I have to work on, then I'll have to do it from there. But new videos and things, everything else, I'm going to try to do from that for the next week or two. And we'll see if it, if it can actually keep up on entertainment as well as business.
Neato.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be interested in hearing the results because up until this point, it's, like you said, just been for hobbyists, to kind of mess around with.
Yeah,
and,
for instance, at the escape room, we've got some embedded in things to make, certain things happen in like the camp and whatnot when things magically open and scare people. It's done. Some of them are done with Arduinos and some of them are done with Raspberry Pis, so it just depends.
You need to go over there and pound on the wall.
I know, right?
That always scares them.
Oh,
I can hear it. I can hear the thunder.
Yeah, the thunder just went. I actually went in the one side, and there's the cabin has, because you're in a cabin in there, and there's actually some windows, some real windows in there. And we go in there, and the lightning shines, and there's like a shade over the window on the outside. And so when the light comes on, you can see somebody behind there. And so we'll go up, and we'll put our face and hands to the window and scare people, and we'll bang on the window. And I smashed the window the other day.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Fortunately, there's plexiglass over the window, so on their side, there's no actual glass shards, but I did crack and break the window on my side, so what are you going to do?
Fix it.
Nah, it looks better.
Does it? Okay.
Looks scarier, like an old cabin. So.
Like an old cabin.
All right, well, with that, Steve, I think it's time for us to get on out of here and go play around with our Raspberry Pis and webcams. What do you think?
Raspberry Pi.
Yes. And with my Raspberry Pi, one of the things that I'm going to be using is the Mivo UM700 desktop microphone, great for podcasting and voiceovers and screencasts and everything else. As Steve said, it kind of looks like that other microphone that people talk about.
Yeti.
Yes, we won't mention that, but yes, works very similar to the Yeti, but at a good price. You can get it much cheaper, works just as good, and it's actually a little thinner. So one of the big problems with that other microphone is people say, it's so big, it's gigantic, it's like a barrel on your screen. Well, this one's a little skinnier. And similar shape, but a little bit skinnier, so that's a helpful thing. But it does a really good job, and I've been using it for recording the stuff with the Raspberry Pi, and it does a very, very nice job. And you can pick one up right now by heading on over to pocketvideopro.com/UM700, and that will get you the UM700 microphone from Mivo.
And what's the cost again?
You know what? I'm not even sure exactly. It's somewhere around $100 right now, I think.
Okay.
I'm not,
all right.
it fluctuates a little bit, but
Yetis used to be $100, but they're a lot more now.
yeah. Well, it depends. I think I got mine for like $170 back in the day, and
Oh, did you? I got mine
they
for
were
$100.
expensive.
I've had it for
And
a
later
long
on,
time,
the older one like I had eventually went down to close to about $100, $120, and now they've got new versions, and so they're even more expensive. But
oh, okay.
they changed the
It's
colors.
a good alternative. Yeah.
It is a good alternative, as with most Mivo products. So be sure to check it out again, pocketvideopro.com/UM700. And with that, we're going to hit our funky music and get ourselves out of here, Steve. So here it comes.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.